Hello all, this is James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade, and I am back here in my test town that I use for testing things. But in this episode, instead of testing, I am going to go over something that seems to confuse people, and that is Splendor and how to unlock buildings. So this episode is going to be completely about Splendor, how to unlock buildings. I'm going to go ahead and decrease the speed down to ×1. And first off, we're going to go through the labor tab. You may or may not be aware that if you click on these 3 buttons here, it opens up a menu where you can unlock things. And as you can see in my test town, I really haven't unlocked much. One of the first buildings that there is to unlock is the Fisherman's Hut. And in order to do so, I need 10 serfs, which as you can see is green, which means I have 10 serfs. And you can see in this next area, 20 commoners is needed to unlock it, but it's red. I do not have 20 commoners. No, I have 16 serfs and 12 commoners. So if I want to get the 20 commoners, I'm going to have to, well, increase this here. But I do have the 10 serfs. I am missing the 2 Splendor, the labor Splendor needed to unlock this category. How do you get labor Splendor? That's one of the first questions I see many people ask. And that's what we're going to go over here in this particular episode. So, the easiest way to get labor Splendor is to come over here to your building. Come into monuments. And under markets, we see these various things, right? If you hover over these various things, you will see that a blue tent will give 2 Splendor if it's put on a market. You will see that a green tent will also give 2 Splendor if it's put on a market. Notice that the Splendor is denoted by a hammer, and that the hammer is the same icon that's under labor. This is labor Splendor. So blue tents, green tents, and red tents all give 2 labor Splendor. A sign gives a ½ a point of labor Splendor. There's various different signs here. There's barrels, which also give a ½ a point of Splendor. So if you drop a sign and a barrel, that's a full point. That's 1 point. You add in a tent to your market, that's another 2 points. So if you have a tent, you have a barrel, and you have a sign, you're up to 3 points of Splendor on that individual market. Then there's also a bench. A bench is another ½ a point. And a fence is yet another ½ a point. So if you added 1 fence, 1 bench, 1 barrel, 1 sign, 1 tent, you would have 4 points of Splendor for that particular market. Now let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go to our current market here selling berries. We're going to edit it. I like to use red tents to denote my food stalls. So now I have a red tent here, and that's going to give me 2 Splendor. If I add in, say, a food stall sign, now I'm up to 2½ points of Splendor. If I add, say, barrels, I'm now up to 3 points of splendor. If I add in a bench, I'm at 3.5 points of splendor. And with a little fence, we are now at 4 points of splendor. So I'm going to start construction of this when I have the gold to do so. And when that is all built, you will notice that my splendor, which is currently 0, will go up to 4. I'll go ahead and increase speeds. Alright, while we wait for that to build, let's move on to the next category. We have Kingdom Splendor. As you can see, I already have the 10 serfs needed, plus the 0 splendor needed to unlock these first sections. Wooden keep, wooden wall, and large stone wall. So, the next set of stuff requires 15 military splendor. How do you get military splendor? We look at the wooden keep, we can see that the core section of it gives 3 points. The wooden top gives 1 point, wooden top B only gives 0.5 point, and wooden top C only gives 0.2. So with top A and a core, that's a full 4 points. Plus you got door A, B, and C, which give 0.1. A wooden gate, which also gives 0.1, a decorative flag, which gives 0.2, and training dummies, which give nothing. So if we were wanting to get up to the 15 splendor required to unlock the Hunter's Lock, Hunter's Hut, and the Big Keep, we would need to build a pretty elaborate wooden keep. To give an example, okay, can't stack these. Alright, so this entire section that I just built here is going to give 4.6. That's not even 5. So, what can I do to squeeze a little bit more out of here? Can't put another decorative... I can put a decorative flag on the ground there, evidently. Do I really want to have decorative flags willy-nilly like? Now look here, if I help the king, what do I get? I get these cross sword stuffs, right? But not Splendor. So, I'm gonna keep it all. Anyway, I'll just stick these flags in the grass like this. As you can see, I'm up to 5. If I build 2 more of these, that will be 15 Splendor. And I will unlock the Hunter's Hut and the big wooden keep. Then after that, I would need another 40 to unlock the weaponsmith. I'm going to clear this because this is a lot of effort and I don't want to go through the time and effort to actually build 3 wooden keeps. Because, well, let's face it, the Hunter's Hut is not finished. It gives us leather, which isn't part of a production chain we need. The big wooden keep isn't in the game yet. It's coming soon. So as far as I'm concerned, progressing through this section of unlockables isn't needed at this point in time. That will, of course, change in the future, and in the future when it does change, when they do have the production line for the Hunter's Hut in the game, and when they do have the big keep in the game, you're going to actually want to do this to unlock this rest of this line. And this is how you do it. You've learned. You've discovered. Ah, that's how I get that Splendor. Very neat. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and clear that. Now the last type of Splendor is here under Clergy. As you can see, I need 5 Church Splendor to unlock the Rustic Church Additions. Then to get the small stone wall and to unlock the church, I'm going to need 20 commoners. There we are, back to those commoners. And 20 Church Splendor. So how can we get Church Splendor? Well, obvious. Build churches, right? So here we are. A rustic church. The core gives 1 Splendor. So if we want to unlock the rustic church additions, we need to come up with 5 Splendor that we already have, actually, because I've built a church already. And I unlocked the rustic church additions. The only thing I need to do here to get this is to do like a feast and support the clergy. So the next time I get that mission pop up, if I choose to help the clergy, it'll get me points that I need to unlock this. But if we want to go ahead and start getting things unlocked for the next section, we'll need more Splendor, because we only have 7 right now, and we're going to need 20. A church core gives What? Gives 1. A wooden extension gives 0.5. A door doesn't give any. A small tower, depending on which one you build, Tower A gives 2, and Tower B gives 1. So there we are. We are now up to... I need a door. If I was to build this right now, it would give 4 Splendor. If I add, say, another small tower, like this one, this small tower A, that's 2 more Splendors. So now we're up to 6.5. Wait, what? Well, sweet. 6.5, so it gave more than it said it would. I'll take that. Yay. So that's how you get the church Splendor. Not very hard. Pretty easy, right? So now you know. The more you know, the easier this game is. Really, the church Splendor just happens from playing the game. If you're playing the game properly and you're building churches, you're going to unlock this stuff, and you probably won't even know why or how you're unlocking it. You just do. Because you're building churches and you're being a good steward of your citizens. The Kingdom one kind of happens the same way. If you build that wooden keep for the mission, you're going to end up getting a fair amount of Splendor. And you'll be able to unlock this first section, but you may still be wondering how to get to this section. If you build a couple more wooden keeps, you'll unlock it. You won't really know why, but it happens. This is the one that drives people nuts, is because it gives you a good building, the Fisher's Hut. Everybody wants the Fisher Hut because it's another source of food. It also unlocks the Lord's Manor. So if you build enough markets, if you're playing the game naturally, it doesn't take that many markets if you're adding a tent to your market. If you don't add any tents to your market, you don't get any Splendor for your markets, you're going to be scratching your head wondering what's going on. But if you ever add a tent to your market, you're naturally going to get Splendor, and it's just going to happen, right? So you may or may not unlock this stuff without knowing how or why you're doing it. Well, if you're watching this video, you now know why. So let's say that you happen to have unlocked the Lord's Banner without knowing how you unlocked the Lord's Banner. Let's go look at the Lord's Manor, shall we? It's a big building. Look, it gives Splendor too when you build it. The core is 1 Splendor. The treasury is another Splendor. The tower is yet another Splendor. So if you were to build the core, the tower, plus the treasury, where did it go? Anyway, that would get you up to 5 Splendor, and it just would have happened and you wouldn't have known that you were getting Splendor. And that 5 Splendor would add up towards your 20 Splendor needed to unlock the rest of this stuff. Build a couple more markets with tents, and you end up with the Splendor needed to unlock this stuff, and you didn't even know why, just because you were playing the game and doing so effectively. But now you know why, because Splendor! That's the reason why. So, if it's red, it's bad. You don't have it. If it's green, it's good. You have it. So if it's green and purple, like this, you have it. If it's red and red, you don't have it. And that is my episode about Splendor. Leave a like, subscribe, all that jazz. And until next time, Foundation folks, and anyone else watching my videos, peace.